Hey, hey, Cubs fans, and welcome to another edition of Cubs on Tap. I am your host, Nick Hudson, joined by almost a full crew here, and a very special face that we have not seen in quite some time, Mr. Ron Luce. I want to start with you, Ron. How the hell are you, man? We haven't seen you in quite some time.
It's good to see you, boys. It has been a long time. I will say, Nick, it is so much fun not having to do the intro and just getting to sit here and watch you do it. I'm good, man. Life's crazy, and we're in the heart of not only football season but also hockey season. So lots of things going on over in the Four Feathers and Bears on Tap rooms, and but it feels good to get back on here with you guys and talk, some winter meetings. My season is the off season. That's what I tell everybody, and it's good to see you, boys. It's really, really good to see you. It's been a long time.
Hell yeah. No, it's good to see you as well. Joey, Tyler, how are you?
Good. First Cubs on Tap show for Ron after getting newly married here. So now took off the wedding hat and you got the GM Ron hat for the off season. So yeah, it's good to do a show with Ron. Good to do a show with you guys. It's been a while. Yeah, man, I'm in full winter mode. I've got the hoodie up. It's chilly in the house here, and not really like winter off season Cubs mode. I'm just like in winter mode. It's kind of brutal outside. So yeah, but I'm
Be
good.
careful. Just be careful, Joey. I'm always afraid you're going to poke yourself in the eye with that microphone on your headset.
I know, right? It's a little high. Why is it so damn high? I should probably adjust this, but you know what? The hoodie's kind of bringing it up a little bit more too.
I'm good. It's good to see you guys. It's good to see your beautiful faces. And it's good to be back on here for my weekly or whatever you want to call it therapy session, because that's what I've turned the off season these last few years has, at least these episodes have been great therapy sessions. And guys, it's time we have a therapy session. It's so yeah, it's and it's great to see Ron. It was great to see Ron.
Yeah, where'd he go?
But yeah, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Just buckling up. Just getting
That's all around we're getting here tonight.
just getting ready for what's to come.
He just wanted to pop in, and then
we're in the thick of off season. We really are. Winter meetings have come and gone here, and if you go on Cubs Twitter, Cubs X, and you try to get a pulse, it's not pretty right now. But we're gonna, as Tyler said, have kind of a therapy session here. We're gonna kind of break things down, maybe come down to earth a little bit. I'm not too thrilled. I'm sure you guys aren't either, but we're gonna work on this together and see what we come up with our therapy.
got to be here for each other, man. That's what we're here for.
Heck yeah. Well, the Cubs that's what we're here for. The Cubs got started today, with some moves. Milner and a couple other smaller moves have happened as well. Overall, what do you think the direction is that Jed is going? Do you build the bullpen first? Do you address any part of losing Kyle Tucker, the big bat? Or do you just go all towards a big arm for starting pitching? And as time goes on and guys come off the board, do you start to feel that pressure? Or if you're Jed, do you just stay towards your course of what you want to do? A lot of stuff there.
Well, I think we all know what happens every off season. It's what's the best value I can get for the cheapest dollar, for the cheapest amount. I call it dollar bin shopping because yeah, you can get you a lot of dollar bin players, and what it is you hope that one or two of them pan out. And I get it with the bullpen. You got Phil Madden, which he had a good season last year. You got Hobney Milner. Okay, I said that right. And I don't want to act like I don't want to sit here. I'm not mad about those moves. Those were good moves. They seem like they're good players. And in the past 2 seasons, they've shown how to create a bullpen out of all these misfit toys. So maybe it works out for him. Maybe it does. I'm just, it's like I said in the pre-show. It's like Angela from The Office. I don't have a headache. I'm just preparing for it. And again, these two pieces may be great, but as we know, as history has shown, it's what's the well, no crap, Tyler. That's what everybody wants to do is get the best value at the cheapest deal. I get that, but it's just hard to watch sometimes when you're one of the most profitable teams in the league. But anyways, I don't hate the two moves that they've done so far as the bullpen.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I think, overall, there's a lot to like in the two additions, right? Milner, kind of how Colin Ray was a year ago. This is a guy that Craig Counsell's super familiar with. 3 years together in Milwaukee. His best career season came in their final year together in Milwaukee back in 2023. He was almost a 2-WAR player as a reliever. Had, I think, a 182 ERA was the exact figure. He's got the funky arm slot, which we know the Cubs absolutely love guys that throw just weird, very Moneyball-esque, right? Billy, this is Hobie Milner. Why do they not like him? Because he throws a little funny. That's kind of what the Cubs like, and that's what they're continuing to chase. I think Scott's got a great comment here as well. Executing the plan, Jed, is sign Hobby Lobby as the Cubs winter project. And big shout outs to everybody else here as well. EJ, Hadley, Daniel Berry, Sports Comments, everybody else. But, to Tyler's point, the moves themselves in a vacuum, great. You upgrade positions that you needed to upgrade. I think what both pitchers have in terms of stuff fits what the Cubs want to do. High ground ball rates, a break in terms of either a sweeper or a slider with, coupled with some kind of movement in either the form of a sinker or kind of a two-seamer, things like that. And then from there, though, granted, not a ton has happened. I'm going to throw this out into the universe for debate at some point here on the show, but this was one of the more boring winter meetings, I think, in recent memory. But the guys that did sign, though, felt like guys the Cubs weren't going to even get. Even though there's the rumors that they met with Pete Alonso, whatever, I never expected them to sign Pete Alonso. I never expected them to sign Kyle Schwarber. I never expected them to really sign any of those names. So it really does feel like maybe guys just not being actively in the baseball hemisphere right now because there's other sports going on that I can come here and be the bearer of maybe good news, maybe because the Cubs have guys out there that they still are targeting and those markets are moving slower. I don't know, but I agree with Tyler. It's a lot of, you just want them to be active. It feels like the more you hear about the Cubs being in rumors, the less you believe it, because we all know that Jed Hoyer likes to keep things close to the chest. And I'm almost more concerned the more I hear about the Cubs being involved than I am them not being involved, because they're a team that doesn't really give anything away until something's going to happen. So, yeah, we're happy about it, but, it is what it is. And hopefully we'll be good from there. A quick comment here from Jamesy 4046. Cubs, huh? What, you realize how good the Bears are doing? Finally, wrong subject, Holmes. Well, James, I'm going to tell you what. As soon as we're done here, there's a Bears on Tap show running tonight, reviewing the offensive line. You'll get to see my ugly mug yet again over on that. So huge shameless plug. We're on Tap Sportsnet for a reason. It's more than just the Bears. But we're covering the Bears, baby. We had a Bears on Tap show on Tuesday. We're going to be the boys are going to be back after the game on Sunday. I'll be freezing my ass off at the game on Sunday. But don't you worry. We got to talk about the little Bears just as much as we got to talk about the big Bears here on Tap Sportsnet. But Joey, what do you think, man? I want to toss it over to you.
Yeah. So, no, I'm kind of in the same boat, and honestly, this is maybe a different type of off season for me, or I've kind of been out of the weeds this year, maybe even more so than years past, and I feel like last year I kind of was a little bit too for a while there, maybe until around this time too, but it's kind of helped me the last couple of years, and I'd say this year though even a little bit more. It's helped me the last couple of years to just do that, to step away for a little while as the season gets done, because I don't know, you spend all year like we do just totally dived into everything, and I'm I'm somebody who is in the same boat. I don't really. It's hard to believe really anything that you hear, and it's so quiet right now across MLB, Ron. Like you're right. It's not just the Cubs. I mean, there's so many teams that really aren't doing shit right now, and those big names. I guess the only disappointing thing to me is like you didn't really hear them talking to like Kyle Schwarber. Like, did they even talk with him? Like, certain things like that. It's like, well, you could have at least had a conversation. Like this guy came from your organization, but to your point too, never really felt like somebody that they were actually going to go hard for. And I don't know. I'm just wondering. Like, I know Kyle Tucker had a poor second half. Really struggled there with the injury and stuff. And I just want to see them be able to replace what he was doing up until that point, and even after that point where he was still getting on base, and so there's obvious holes there that you need to replenish somewhat. Like, can you completely be reliable, or can you completely rely on an Owen Casey to just step in and fill that void? Or the talk about platooning like Owen Casey and Kevin Alcantara, like those guys, lefty righty, switching those guys around. Or like I can't see a world where you walk into a season and feel completely comfortable with that, even knowing that those guys are like Casey, for example, was so good, in limited stretches that he was. Like, you want to give him the reins, but it's also like a Matt Shaw situation. Is it going to take him till the second half for things to click? And if that's the case, then now you're looking at, a Kyle Tucker and kind of same situation as Matt Shaw, but you need somebody to carry that load. And is Matt Shaw going to be the guy that's going to come in hot, or is he going to have a little bit of a sophomore slump to begin with? Like there's all these question marks. And I guess to kind of sum up what I'm thinking right this moment is I'm not upset with the moves that they made. Like both those bullpen pieces are fine. Like they're good moves. And you're finding value or whatnot. Like that's all well and good. Like I think any organization should do that, but I'm with Tyler too, to the point where, yeah, you want to see them go after some of these big names and spend those dollars. And like, to me, it does feel like, yeah, you're right. Like there used to be this place here in where I'm from. They had the Goodwill bins. You'd go there and you just hunt for the bins, and it'd be like a surprise. They'd cover them up, and they shut this down around COVID. One of the main things that, like, another thing that COVID shut down. But they'd cover up these bins. They'd roll them out there, and like they'd lift them. Lift up the cover from them, and then everyone would be like, "Oh my God, what are these things?" Just go diving in the bins, and it was always a surprise.
You mean dollar bin shopping? Like if you go to a baseball card shop and buy a random ass box of cards, and you want to find some good shit, and so maybe you find 2 or 3 Michael Jordans that I pulled out of this box right here, but the rest of it's a box of shit. But you just do the whole dollar bin shop. Yeah,
I know. The Michael Jordans are definitely worth more than $1.
Yeah, hey, don't get me wrong. I pulled a couple Michael Jordans out of this box right here, but it's, what I can't stand about the winter meetings, and I told you guys this pre-show, but I can't stand when any fan base. So when a big player signs, last year it was Soto, the year before it was Ohtani, this year it was Alonso and Edwin Diaz and Kyle Schwarber. And I hate the after. I hate when the dust has settled and the smoke is cleared and everybody's in their spots. I can't stand it when they say, our team, for example, well, the Cubs did visit Pete Alonso and had a talk with them, and they were really interested in this person, and they're interested. I don't care. I don't want to hear it. I would be better off just not hearing any of it. Great. We were so close. Were you really, though? Were you really interested in them? Because you look at teams like the Pirates who offered, and I feel so bad for Pirates fans because their ownership came out and said, well, we made Kyle Schwarber an offer $100 million for 4 years. That's $100 million. Oh man. Like, you didn't make him an offer. Okay.
Yeah, that's not real.
It's not a real offer.
Cincinnati fans, even though I hate Cincinnati and I kind of love it, but it kind of sucks too.
They're dealing with that though.
They make an offer.
But that's what's wrong with baseball.
It is.
That's where that salary cap floor needs to come in. Like
They make an offer to Kyle
Yeah.
Schwarber, and the only reason I'll believe this till the day I die. The only reason that they and I know we jumped over to Kyle Schwarber, but I'm just talking about these big name players in general. The only reason that they made that offer, it's not because Kyle Schwarber was the hometown kid. It's not because he has a house just 10 minutes down the road. Yeah, they can play it off like that and say that. The only reason they're doing that, and it's not even for the wins, it's so they can get a few more asses in the seats at Great American Ballpark. That's the only reason. And now the shitty thing about the Cincinnati Reds, not to turn this into Reds Ball, is they're not even going to do anything else. That they told their fan base, hey, look, we have $125 million that we could have spent on Kyle Schwarber. Oh, we didn't get it, so I guess we're going to put that back. And so what I'm trying to say is I can't stand when these big names come off the board. And it was just like that last year and the season before. And they said, and I'm just talking about, I know I was talking about other teams, but just looking from our perspective as Cubs fans, I don't care if, they called them. They picked up the phone on cool, whatever. And you could say there's theories about, they just wanted to see what the Red Sox were going to do. And they wanted to see where the Red Sox were at with their money and everything like that. As if like we don't have the money to spend, as if like we're trying to break even or something. You know what I mean? So I hate. And it's part of the offseason. It's part of the rumor mill bull crap. It's part of getting on X and seeing all just the bullshit. And it's so exhausting. And again, I'm not hating on the moves from earlier. I'm not hating on that. It's just, we know, I just know what to expect. And I know I'm preparing to be disappointed.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you, Tyler, at all. I am also preparing to be disappointed. And Joey brought up a great point about putting all that pressure on young guys, Owen Casey and Alcantara. So if you don't go out and get a bat to replace at least half of what Kyle Tucker was in the first half of the season, then you're essentially putting all that pressure on them to go ahead and perform. And the thing is I was looking at those big names and stupid me was like, well, maybe they do figure out a way to get a Schwarber. Maybe they do figure out a way to get an Alonso and then he's your all-time DH. Why wouldn't you as the Cubs? Why wouldn't you go and do that? But I feel like a lot of fans that are used to this and very smart baseball minds have kind of understood the fact that that's just not going to happen because that's not who this organization is. That's not who Jed Hoyer is, and that's why he got this extension last year at the time that he got it. He is very good at making these cute moves work out. They work most of the time. Those dollar bin reaches that he has, he's just got like a mod on where he just picks out diamonds every single
They get all the Jordan cards like Tyler.
Yeah. So every time that happens, then ownership can look down and go, well, why would we go and make a big swing and put a bunch of money down on a big name guy when we can just get this guy, fix him up in our lab, fix him up with our coaching and our culture and everything. But what happens is you find yourself in the playoffs short. You're going to be short because you're going to go against juggernauts like the Dodgers, like the Toronto Blue Jays. You're going to have this happen. And it's going to be a problem until you change that. And I think that's the most frustrating thing for me is they're not changing that, even though they've seen the writing on the wall that teams are spending a ton of money and they are doing well.
Nick,
and to add on to your point, Nick, Bruce Levine, and I part of me feels like he's kind of a plant, but whatever.
He works for Marquee.
He said on Marquee, he made a good point. They were this close to making it to the NLCS. They should have the gas on the pedal. They should have the foot on the gas. Sorry, I totally screwed that up, but they should have the foot on the gas pedal right now. You're that close. And it sucks because, hey, we've got the 10-year anniversary of the 2016 team. 10 years ago, They were that close to the World Series. And what did they do? They added a Jason Hayward who, let's be real. I mean, at the time, did they really, really need him? They didn't know that Kyle Schwarber was going to, injure himself the second game of the season and, all that. But they made that move because they were this close. And hey, we've got the Cardinals right here that are competing with us, and they probably want to send it back too. And basically, in my opinion, they made that move to beat the Cardinals in the offseason. And that's what they did, and we saw what happened to roll on with it. But they're last season, this close. They're right there. And I'm just worried that they're going to look at the numbers of guys like Seiya Suzuki, Pete Crow Armstrong, Michael Busch, and everybody else. Ian Happ's going to get his numbers and all that. They're going to look at the numbers, and I think they're going to take out the human aspect that was Kyle Tucker, the presence of Kyle Tucker, which is what they're missing right now. You could say what you want about the young guys and the Owen Casey's and the Ballesterioses and everything like that. They are missing a presence, all caps, a presence in the lineup. And JD from Marquee, back when Tucker was going through, and I'm not sitting here trying to say we need Kyle Tucker right now, but we do need a presence. But he said it this summer, one guy doesn't make your lineup. And it's kind of like, well, yes and no, because Kyle Tucker's presence in that lineup, at least in the first half of the season, was the reason that PCA was an MVP frontrunner, was the reason that Seiya Suzuki was going off the first half and him and PCA were going back and forth with home runs, was the reason why Michael Busch was a guy in the lineup, was the reason that, Nico Horner was doing what he was doing. And so, they're missing a presence in the lineup, and they are so close last year. I know there's a lot left of the offseason.
I'll tell you what, Tyler, I think you're right. And you know what kind of scares me a little bit about this free agency, though, is that there really isn't anybody that I would feel comfortable as being a presence. And I think those guys that were out there are gone already. Like Kyle Schwarber is one of those names. I think Pete Alonso is certainly one of those names. Both of them got paid, and good for them. Pete Alonso instantly makes the Baltimore Orioles a better baseball team and raises the floor. Again, to your point, that's a perfect example of what a quote-unquote presence bat does to your lineup. That guy elevates everybody else around you, right? Gunnar Henderson all of a sudden looks way more dangerous in the 4-hole. Jackson Holiday looks way more dangerous as a leadoff hitter. That whole lineup, Adley Rutschman is the greatest 6'7" hitter. Sorry, did not mean to do that. Kids will be all over that one.
Fucking idiot. No,
you do that. You had him, Taylor Ward. You got freaking Ryan Mountcastle on the bench.
Even your late lineup hitters all of a sudden look that much more dangerous because of Pete Alonso being in that lineup.
For sure.
You can make the same argument about Kyle Schwarber. I think him going back to Philly was the right move, if I'm being honest. Like, based on the teams that were interested in Kyle Schwarber, that was the best move for him. Go back to Philly. You're going to be competitive there. Everywhere else that wanted to sign you like you were a fucking circus pony. Like, just do what you needed to do. But all that to be said, outside of Kyle Tucker, I really don't think that guy's on the free agent market anymore. So if I'm the Cubs, though, now this is where that question begs, because if they are going to stick with the Owen Casey, Kevin Alcantara model, like I could see them signing a guy like Adolis Garcia to like a 1-year, $8 million deal to say, hey, you're a thumper. You can play a little outfield still. We'll give you a chance to resurrect your career, and after, getting let go effectively by the Texas Rangers, be our platoon guy because he's a right-handed bat. So you can platoon him with Casey. And, if Alcantara's not ready and you want him to start in Iowa or whatever. But I think like Scott makes a great point here. He says, do the Cubs sign any player of AAV over $20 million a year? He doesn't think so at all. I think if they do, though, it's on the pitching side. But I don't think it's coming on the hitting side. It's going to be a
pitching if it is
1 or 2 year deal, maybe at $8 to $10 million a year. Maybe they go a little crazy and they try to get somebody in and they have to outbid them. And maybe it's like a 2-year deal and it's like $12 million a year, give or take. But I think that's kind of where they cap out. I really think if they're going to add an impact bat right now, and this is kind of teetering on the episode title here tonight. We're saying, winter meetings, worries, and wishes. This is maybe a little bit of a wish coming out of me here. Is I almost like if you really feel like you need that presence in the lineup, go trade for that guy. Like, you have the prospect capital to do it. Go trade for that guy. You know, maybe you have to move a Matt Shaw, and if you're willing to spend on Bregman, if they like to me,
would you be willing to give up an Owen Casey for that presence, Ronald?
it depends on control. I think it depends on how many years. If it's another Kyle Tucker situation, absolutely the fuck not.
No,
because don't get me wrong, I don't think Cam Smith would instantly make this Cubs team better than it is right now.
I don't miss Cam
not
Smith.
Right now, at least. But I think you can't sit here again in another year and go, oh, how are we going to re-sign this great bat that we just fucking acquired? I don't want to play that game yet. If you're going to go out and get that guy, go out and get that guy, but make sure you got him for 3 to 4 years, even if it's through arbitration. I don't give a shit. Whatever the case is, that guy needs to be in your lineup.
Yeah. They keep playing.
Trade for it.
They keep playing the expiring contract trade, and it's hard to deal with every single year. It's kind of exhausting, honestly. It's exhausting to have to talk about that and to wonder or worry, are you gonna have to trade this guy at the deadline? Are you actually going to compete, or how much did you give up? You know, like you said, we don't miss Cam Smith right now, but like, how long does it until we are missing that guy or the next Cam
Looking
Smith
at that
guy?
though,
Or, you know,
if you don't make that trade though, then we don't sniff the play. I don't think we sniffed the playoffs.
I don't hate the trade at all, Tyler.
And I think
agree with the trade,
and I think, and I'm sorry, I didn't mean to make it sound like you were. I'm just saying, if we don't make that trade, then I think we're having a totally different conversation right now about this team heading into next. Like, you know, we're probably talking about right now this season being PCA's breakout year. This season maybe Michael Busch comes out, you know, and we're just 1 year behind. So yeah, I don't miss him. And who knows, maybe Cam Smith goes on to be an all-star MVP, Hall of Fame player, whatever. But
yeah, it's more.
I do got your presence. I do got your back. You're looking for him. No, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. Really, I was just gonna say, I think it can come back to bite you when like that guy. You're losing something that could be of long-term value for something that's short-term if it doesn't pan out and you do have to trade him. Like it worked out to the Cubs' favor last year, right? They don't sniff the playoffs without Kyle Tucker. Like they didn't have that presence without Kyle Tucker. But you make a trade, and let's say that guy gets hurt early, the guy that you traded for, right? You lost him for the early part of the year. You lost him forever because you don't even have him, and you might not even have the proper trade value for him when he comes back to sell him for a good dollar amount. Plus, teams aren't trading that much for a half a year rental anyways. So like it's a cat and mouse game that the Cubs are playing to be cheap, basically, when it's all said and done, because they are getting pennies on the dollar for somebody like a Kyle Tucker for what his actual worth is, you know, because right now we're seeing it in real life, in real time. They're not talking to Kyle Tucker. We're seeing it in real time. They're not even negotiating a contract with Kyle Tucker because all they cared about, and maybe there's more to the story, maybe that injury and stuff that we don't know about behind the scenes, like contract negotiations mid-season, maybe that's deeper than what we know about. But we're seeing it now where it's like you could easily make the effort to sign him to a long-term deal, and you're not doing that because you just wanted a cheaper player that was based off of a trade. And, you know, that's the frustrating part. I think that we all can agree with is what's like, you know, pony up, dude.
I think you were 100% right initially. Is they looked at it and said, Kyle Tucker's available and he's going to cost us $16 million next year. So they saw that and were like, wow, this is a really good upgrade for a $16 million player. But then I think it turned into, I will say, I think there is something to be said in the Cubs case here for Kyle Tucker getting hurt and not looking like the same player the rest of the season. And to say, who knows him better than the Cubs? Nobody. Maybe the Astros. But they have his medicals. They were there. They were performing the test, right? So I think when it comes to Kyle Tucker, that is what it is. But I think the problem that all of us are trying to articulate here is that bleeds further than just Kyle Tucker. That's any free agent that costs you more than what Tom is willing to pay up or
Mhm.
just what they're willing to do. And don't get me wrong, I think it's still important. You need to be able to draft talent and things like that. Like I still firmly believe that. You look at the last core, like that entire group was built off of guys they either drafted or they got as prospects and got to the next level. Like you need that still. That's still critically important. Every great team doesn't always just buy talent. Not everybody's like even the Yankees, right? This isn't the 2008 World Series where the Yankees bought their way to a title. Those days are dead and gone in terms of baseball. Even the Dodgers. I know a lot of people are like, well, yeah, the Dodgers, they buy a lot of talent. Yeah, but like a lot of those guys, they've also developed and they've brought guys up that fill in key pieces and like, and they're able to trade those assets for guys like Mookie Betts and trade those assets for guys like, to get
Freddie Freeman. No,
to
he
get
signed. Sorry. He
yeah,
signed.
Freddie signed, but they still go out and they make those trades and then they're able to keep those guys because they're willing to pay them. They still have one of the best farms year in and year out because they know how to do it. They know how to develop talent. So it's like, look at Michael Busch. I think Michael Busch is a great example. He's a good player. He was in the Dodgers farm. The only difference
Could you imagine if Michael Busch was still on the farm? Like, could you imagine if he was still in their farm system and then once Freddie Freeman leaves, they just throw in Michael Busch?
A 30-year-old Michael Busch by that time?
Yeah, he'd be old at that point.
Yeah.
But still, like could you imagine the caliber of Michael Busch just replace? Oh, Freddie Freeman's retiring. We got this Michael Busch kid, but
that's a testament too, though, to like again, that was a great deal that the Cubs made. I think this Cubs front office likes the idea of trying to target, and that's why I think if the Cubs are going to get a true impact bat this offseason, it's going to come via the trade. It's not going to come via, the free agent wire. And to be frank, there's rumors and reports about that. There's 3 teams that were listed in some recent reports from Jesse Rogers that are very quote unquote active in the trade market. The Red Sox were one of those teams. I'm convinced that Jed and Craig Breslow just have this weird like bromance competitiveness that they're just trying to beat each other out because they're buddies and they know each other. But those 2 teams, and I think it was the Giants maybe was the other team that was also mentioned. There was a third team that I can't recall at this moment that was also mentioned in those reports. Like, I bet that's what the Cubs are doing right now. The reason they're not signing a lot of guys is because they're kicking the tires trying to see what's out there. I think they would totally be okay with moving on from a Matt Shaw or Kevin Alcantara or some of these other players. I think the only prospect they're not moving right now is Owen Casey, unless they find a guy that can play right field for the next 5 years.
Here's
from Ballesteros.
I would
for the right price.
Yeah, for the right
price, right?
I had an idea when you were just talking there, Ron. So we were saying earlier how there was a report or the thought there that the Cubs were wanting to talk to the polar bear because they wanted to find out how much the Red Sox were willing to pay him, right? And you just mentioned the teams that are pretty active, at least in talks with the trades, are the Cubs and the Red Sox. Is there something brewing there between those 2 teams? And is that why the Cubs wanted to know how much they were willing to shell out for the polar bear? Because they're wanting to know what the real need is there for what they're looking for between first base, DH, slugger type of a bat. And maybe the Cubs are like, we might have that somewhere for you. We just don't have it, I'm not sure. We don't have it right now, but it might be something that you guys are looking to invest in with us via the trade market. So
maybe.
And I don't know. I don't know what that trade would look like, but I'm just curious if that's where my head went there for a second.
Definitely. The Padres were the other team. I just looked it up just to be accurate. But no, I think that's a fair point. And I think that also might relate though as well. You can make the argument in the case of these teams looking away from one another, but still looking for ways to upgrade. Hey, like what are they willing to shell out for this type of player? What do you value this guy at? Because again, there's also reports out there that suggest that if the Red Sox sign another free agent, that's the only way the Cubs are going to pursue Bregman because they can pigeonhole him more into the number they want to spend because the Red Sox aren't involved. Like it very much seems like the Red Sox want Bregman back, but if they can't get him, then he's good as gone. Like if they go for somebody else, he's good as gone. And then it feels like the Cubs are going to make their move. Tyler, you had a great analogy that I'd like you to share, if you don't mind, in our pre-show.
About the sixth grade kids.
Yes, about the sixth grade kids.
Okay, what pisses me off so much about this offseason, and we were talking about it with the winter meetings, is it's been what this front office has been for the past 3 years. It's like the sixth grade dance when you've got the boys on one end, you've got the girls on the other end, and they're just standing there staring at each other, to see who's going to dance with each other first, and they're not doing shit. And so what happens is Miss Frizzle Jizzle comes over and dances with the one boy that he doesn't have a snowball's chance in hell of dancing with any of the girls because he's so awkward, whatever you want to call it. So she dances with him. And so then all the boys are like, oh, we did something. Look at us. And it's like, no, you really didn't. And you basically spent the whole night staring at each other. And yeah, you got to watch, Johnny Dickweed dance with Miss Frizzle, but it really was nothing. It really wasn't. And that's what these off seasons feel like a lot of time, is just a lot of people staring at each other, waiting for them to make their moves. And this whole thing with the Red Sox, and I know that rumor going around that's like, oh, well, they only talked to Pete Alonso to see what the Red Sox were going to do and see what the Red Sox were at with their money and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, you know what? If you want a player, whatever you want, just go get it. Go get it. I'm so just the whole money thing. And you can say what you want. I can't stand when you get on X, and this is the disease that is X and that is Twitter, is you get on there and you've got these know-it-alls that want to get on there and say, oh, well, that's too much. That's too expensive for this person. Like it's their freaking money. Like it's their freaking bank account. Like, I just want to be like to some of those people. Do you work for Jed? Are you a narc? Or are you Jed's? Or are you Tom Ricketts, his burner account? What are you? I can't stand all these no offense, Ron, these accountants that want to, and I'm not saying they're not actual accountants that do this, but they want to act like that, oh, well, I know everything there is to know about the Cubs and their spending and everything like that. And that would be way too much money and blah, blah, blah. And it's what are we doing? And back to y'all's point about the Dodgers, you spoke so well of the Dodgers, how well they do things. That's how that's how everybody should operate right now. That's how, and every fan base, we should be the freaking rich bratty kid on Christmas right now, that we got Hobney Milnar and Phil Matt, whatever. And okay, that's cool. We got these nice socks, and you got a nice button-up shirt for church on Sundays. That's great. Okay, what's next? Come on, what's next? Let me see what's next. I want to open. I don't care. I don't care what everybody else, as far as just this whole stopping and staring at each other, waiting for the market to do this and waiting for the market to do that. I just do. I'm sick of it. And the conversation shouldn't even be like Adolis Garcia, for example. Ron, that is a move that they would probably do. It just it pisses me off that that is a move that they would do. But it's
I just want to know if
that's
Johnny
your opening
Dickweed,
day right fielder right there, boys.
I just want to know if Johnny Dickweed and Miss Frizzle Jizzle left enough room for Jesus. That's all.
Well, it was sixth grade, so they had to arms length, Joey. But
okay.
But I'm telling you, when we get to I'm sure before we end this tonight, we're gonna have a Christmas wish list or whatever you want to call it, or scenario. I've got a scenario that comes to trading. Can I just say, you want me to say it right now?
Just say it. Go for it.
So there are a lot of needs that we need a presence in the lineup. It would be nice for that presence to play right field. And that's not a knock against Seiya Suzuki. He wasn't terrible. He just had his moments sometimes in right field. And we need pitching. I feel like we need another starter. To be honest, I feel like we need another bullpen guy, a lockdown bullpen guy, maybe even a closer. You can say what you want about Danny P. I love me some Danny freaking P. But the best time to strike a deal, the best time to buy something, especially that expensive stuff, is when a business is going out of business, or when a business is having and everything must go sale, or a Black Friday, or whatever you want to call it. There's an organization out there that, don't get me wrong, they're a good team. We're a good team, whatever you want to call it. Playoff team. They are having, just from what I read, they are struggling internally. They're having problems with ownership issues right now. Brother and sister aren't getting along. And they say, don't go into business with family. Trust me, I know that. I think that if they pick up the phone and give the San Diego Padres a call, I think they've got a few guys. And I'll just say with the first one, I feel like we need another bullpen arm. There's a guy in Mason Miller that shoved it up our ass in the playoffs that just got traded from the A's. I think he's a guy that could come over here and cement himself as the closer of this team. I think, and this is one big ass trade that I would be willing to give up prospects for. Yes, an Owen Casey. Yes, a Matt Shaw.
Keep going.
So you throw Mason Miller on the list, and you're talking to brother and sister. I can't think of their names, but I'm telling you, they are.
Who else?
So as you're talking to them, you're like, okay, yeah. So I'll take, let's go ahead and throw Mason Miller on the list. And yeah. How's your parents doing? Great. And they're pissed off, venting and everything like that. Okay. Yeah. While you're at it. So we need another starting pitcher. And there's rumors that this guy's on the market and he had a good season last year. And this guy would fit perfectly with what the team does. They don't get swing and miss guys. They don't get, the Paul Skeens and everything like that. But you guys do have a guy, Nick Pivetta, that was top 6 in NL Cy Young last year. And I think he would fit with what we're doing, even though, again, is he an ace? No, but we're privy to, doing stuff like that. So yeah, Nick Pivetta would be great. And we need a presence in the lineup. We need a guy that can play right field. We need a guy that is locked in for a long time. We need a Fernando Tatis Jr. And we'll be willing to We'll be willing to empty our farm system for those 3 guys because of the controllability and the track record of all 3 of them. And yeah, Nick Pivetta would only be there for a year. But I feel like guys like between Mason Miller, who people forget he was a starter at one time. I'm not saying to go back to him being a starter because he's excelled magnificently as a closer. But you get a guy like Fernando Tatis that is a presence in the lineup, that's been there, done that. He's faced adversity. Don't get me wrong. That dude took that freaking PED suspension. He took all and I was one on the top of the hill, just like, yeah, you freaking loser, you idiot. You didn't have whatever it was, but took all that. And you know what he did? He embraced it. He embraced it the season he came back. And what did he do? He won a freaking platinum glove. He was I want to say he finished top 5 in MVP. I know he's at least top 8. And he's got like, 10 years left on his contract, and he's old. I think it's like 20 plus, a little over 20 million for the next few years. And what is it? His age, year 2029, he's going to get owed like 30 plus million. But in 2029, 30 plus million is, that's going to be the new normal anyways. So really, he's on a cheap ass deal. You get a guy with some FU, some swag.
He's also only 27.
And he's only 27. And you could say what you want about the Padres. And yeah, again, they were a series away from the NLDS, but you lost their closer. They're going to lose Michael King. You're paying Xander Bogaerts arguably the worst contract in baseball. It's probably his or Chris Bryant, no offense. And you still owe Manny Machado a shitload of money. You still owe Yu Darvish till he's going to be freaking 50. And so, yeah, you're taking out the best player there. But if you take out $300 million of what they owe, you're helping them out a little bit. And to be honest, I honestly think the San Diego Padres are going to sell their team in the next 5 years because of the shit show that is their ownership. But yeah, I would give up an Owen Casey. I would give up a Matt Shaw because you still got guys like Alex Bregman available. You still got guys like Eugenio Suarez available. And if you just go with you can even go with a slapdick if you want to. I would go with a slapdick if it meant Fernando Tatis and Mason Miller on this team.
And even Tyler, I think even if it's not a Bregman, you can find somebody to play third base in that lineup.
Oh, exactly. We've been doing it for
lineup,
how many years, Ron, have we done that? How many years have we had a random ass third baseman at the hot corner?
It doesn't matter at that point. And honestly, I'm glad you said that because I was thinking the exact same thing. San Diego is a great trade partner for that reason. A lot of people have said the exact same thing.
San Diego before.
Yeah. And that's the thing right now. Because of their owner passing away, the kids don't want to spend like their dad did on the team. So they are going to have to shed payroll, and they have a lot of long-term contracts locked up right now. And Fernando Tatis being probably the longest-term contract. And he could come, he could play right field every day. Yeah, he's probably going to cost you probably Alcantara and Casey, but so be it. You know what you're getting out of him. You know what type of player he is. You know exactly what he brings into that lineup. And then you maybe go out and get a Pivetta or maybe a Joe Musgrove, who still has 2 years on his deal without a player opt-out. Now, Pivetta could stick around for 3, but again, there's an opt-out after this season, and then there's a player option then for that final year. So really, to your point, Tyler, it's a 1-year deal at about $20 million. Even if you go out and get Joe Musgrove, though, for that same price, they're the same age. They're both 33 years old. They're both righties. You get that guy for 2 years. You get a humongous addition to your bullpen in Mason Miller for another 3 years because he's arbitration eligible. This is his first year of arbitration this year.
Blockbuster trade. Did you say this is his first year?
Yeah, and he's got 4 years of arbitration. So he's 3+ years of control. Mason Miller.
Could be the Emmanuel Clase that we wanted, but without the gambling problem.
Exactly. And then you get
Boo! I want the guy with the gambling problem. No, I'm just playing.
And then you get a Fernando Tatis where like that really is the type of move. And Tyler, I understand that, like you said, maybe it doesn't happen, but like
it's not going to happen. But
logically, though, it all makes sense. The trade partner makes sense because the Padres want to dump money. Like there's a lot to be said there. Scott's hoping for a trade for Skubal or Skeens. Derevko says that they love Miller. And then Scott says, follow Tyler's plan and then move Swanson to third and call up Rojas.
The problem with Skubal, so obviously we all know Skeens isn't getting traded. He's stuck in Pittsburgh purgatory. Skubal, Detroit's stupid for not re-signing him right now. But you look at the Skubal deal and you compare that to look what we just did for Kyle Tucker last year. Would they really want to do that again?
Hell no.
Exactly. They're not going to drop because Skubal's getting what, $400 million? Probably.
Oh, yeah.
So
at least
do we really, as Cubs fans, want to make that move? Unless that move just Skubal, if we added Skubal to this team right now, does that make us a World Series favorite? Probably not. It makes us probably a division favorite, even though they need more additions. But would we really want to go through a full season of that, knowing that afterwards he's gone and we just lost probably 3 of our top prospects?
No, Tyler, I got it because you're asking here. Even Scott's saying move Swanson to third. I don't think you move Swanson off a short. I have the perfect player that the Cubs could then sign for next to no money to play third base. It's Yohan Moncada.
Is it a familiar? Yohan Moncada. There you go.
He's been rumored as a Cub, like a player that the Cubs have liked for years.
Bring him back to Chicago.
There's your guy. And that's how they fill up the
bring
lineup.
Back the 2 Chicago prospects in Tatis and Moncada.
Or maybe
and just rub it in
the face of the White Sox.
Yeah.
Maybe this is when Michael Busch moves back to third base when we put Mo Baller at first. Or is he a part of that trade?
Yeah, Mo Baller's
gone, brother.
Mo Baller, Owen Casey, Kevin Alcantara, Jackson Wiggins.
It would be everyone. Yeah.
All of them.
Emptying the farm on that.
I'm doing it.
Worth it.
If you get that returning back, I'm doing it.
Yeah,
you need a presence, like you said, Tyler. I agree 100%. You need a presence in that lineup. We talked about it before they got Tucker. That you needed a presence, and you do. You need a guy that you circle. You go, He's not going to beat me. Oh, well, there's two other guys. Then they become better. Like, we're in the same position we were just in.
We saw it with Tucker. How good did he make Saya, and how
Yes.
good the rest of that lineup was so much better.
And I
Yes.
think with
Kyle Tucker.
Tatis, who knows, maybe we talk this into existence, but with a guy like Tatis goes through a slump like Kyle Tucker. You know what Tatis does? I feel like he wears it. I feel like he wears it on the chin and he takes it and he still goes out and does it. I don't think he hides. I don't think he's quiet. I don't think, I think he wears it. And again, back to when he came back from his PED suspension. We were in the crowd when he was doing everybody's sitting there yelling at him. He just had his glove behind his back, just mimicking everybody. He plays along with it. He's perfect. Like, it's perfect for that kind of stuff.
That guy, he's the exact type of player though that you hate him if he's on another team,
exactly,
you love him if he's on your team, and Cubs fans would embrace him with open arms.
Oh, that's Sammy Sosa. That's Sammy Sosa 2.0.
AJ Pierzynski, but in right field.
Because
Hank says here, Padres want starting pitching. They asked for Horton and Wiggins. I think Wiggins is good as gone. I think the Cubs are hanging on to Horton. I think you're more likely to see the Cubs trade a current starter to the Padres if that was part of the deal. Maybe a Jameson Tyone, maybe a Shota Imanaga.
I was going to say maybe one of the lefties.
Yeah.
Somebody of that nature, I think, before you see them try to trade.
The two guys that might draw some interest as having some success as starters, but the Cubs are looking to just upgrade, but other teams might find value in the depth and the swing ability. Colin Ray and Javier Assad, who wouldn't be nothing to another team, but here it's like, are they fifth starters? Are they bullpen pieces? Like, we're ready to compete, not quite sure where they're going to fit in as we're trying to upgrade. I could see those guys being of value to a team like the Padres, who might be looking to get a little cheaper too. And that's not nothing as like a toss-in trade option, I think. There was a question I was gonna ask you guys though. This kind of came up today. I was talking with a coworker, and he had this idea that I'd never really thought about, but it made sense with how I kind of view things right now with the Cubs, at least the last few years, is like they just do enough to win the division or try to win the division because of the landscape of the way the division is. And that we know that, no team in the division between the Pirates, the Reds, the Cardinals, the Brewers, none of those teams really spend money at all. Like, they just don't, the way that they're built. Like, what if, and he said this, what if the MLB, and they'll never do this, but what if they restructured all the divisions to where it wasn't just, the conversation of restructuring around location, kind of we've talked about, but yes, restructured by revenue. So it was like Dodgers and Yankees and Cubs all in the same division.
Red Sox.
You kind of keep going Red Sox just like that. Dude, how much more would the Cubs need to do from an ownership level to just be competitive? They would not be able to get away with just getting by, and they would
like those other teams
in a position where they would have to leverage their money and be big dogs.
As
like your Pirates and the Rockies and all them would all just they'd have like a meeting before the season, like, hey, do you guys just want to kind of like it's kind of like, what was it, the grown-ups meme when they're playing basketball? It's like, hey, you want to fake an injury? Yeah, sure. I feel like that's what they would all do.
That's what they would do.
Are we sitting out today? Or
I'll tell you what, as great as an idea as that is, it will never happen.
Oh, I know.
It's just strictly because like the thing that I think a lot of people do lose sight of, and myself included, we are human. Like, these teams have to pay for their travel. So like,
but the thing is though, Ron, now they're not even playing as many divisional games as they used to be. So like, I'm not saying they don't.
But then that defeats the purpose of the division, doesn't it? Though, like, the whole point is you got to play each other to make it work.
I say you make them sit out the next season if they don't spend enough,
or you just institute a salary cap floor.
That's what they really need to have. Or you know what?
Yeah.
If you don't spend it's like soccer, you go into relegation or something,
Yeah,
just like
that's what I
you
was
said.
going to say.
You
sit
go to
out.
AAA.
Yeah, you go back down, you're playing against the Iowa Cubs next year or something.
Could you imagine? Could you imagine? I'll
But
tell you what, Tyler. I know you were joking about wish lists here. Your trades got me. That
that was
might
a
be.
hell
I
of
mean,
a trade.
That would be my wish list, Tyler. That's
I heard
exciting.
Fernando Tatis. Fernando Tatis. I don't know. Maybe it was months ago, and part of me was like, I don't know. But then the more this offseason's gone, and the more I've heard about their front office and just the family not getting along, you see the money issue. You see that division between the Dodgers or the Dodgers. You got the Giants that I feel like are just one pitcher away, a Framber Valdez away
A
from
sleeping giant, if you would.
a sleeping giant. And I think the D-backs are always the D-backs, man. I know they didn't make the playoffs last year, and I know they're talking about trading Ketel Marte, but the last 2 seasons, I don't want to play the Diamondbacks in a series at the end of the season. Don't want to do it because they're always there. And then and I get it, the Padres made the playoffs last year, but you lost your NL. They lose their NL saves leader. You lose one of your starters in Michael King. You lose Dylan Cease to free agency. I think it's all just you get another year older of Bogarts and Machado, and yeah, I think it wouldn't. Yeah, they should pick the phone up and at least talk about it. Say, hey, one of our fans, Tyler, had this idea. Just want to throw this by you.
What if instead of acquiring a starting pitcher, you just do Tatis, Miller, and then you take on Machado's contract to play third base?
Yeah, sure. Hell yeah. Even though I don't see them trading both Machado and Tatis together.
God, no.
And I don't know.
Petco Park would burn if they did that.
They would. And there's something about Machado as far as being in a club. Something tells me that Machado and Tatis don't vibe well in the clubhouse. I don't know. I don't know what it is. And I got that and maybe it's a Juan Soto thing. I mean, look at the Mets right now. But when those 3 guys were together in San Diego, there was just something about those 3 guys together. It was like there's too many stars in the room. Who knows? I don't know. I wouldn't hate it if Machado, if someone could set Machado down and say, hey, look, Tatis is the guy. You're not. You're going to be a Hall of Famer, but going to need you to take a back seat to Tatis' star. But if that was the case, yeah, I'd take Machado at third base. But man, could you imagine paying off them? How many more years does Machado have?
I had it up. I'll pull it up for you, Tyler.
Because what is he, 34?
Old enough.
Old enough.
Old enough.
People forget he came in the league at 18 years old with Baltimore.
Machado's 33.
He'll be 34 July 6th. Man, he's younger.
Machado makes, so this year, Machado will make about $25 million, which is not bad. Starting in 2027, Machado will make almost $40 million a year until 2034.
2027, they're not going to want to pay anybody $40 million in 27 when you're not going to play 80 of the games probably.
Yeah. Tatis makes the most sense. This year he's about just shy of 21 million. Next year he's just shy of 26 million. Same with 28, and then he doesn't jump until that like $36 million number in 2029, as you had mentioned earlier. So that one certainly makes the most sense. I'm just here to play devil's advocate.
Oh, and back to the Padres. And speaking of their team, real quick, they lost a lot. They lost Luis Arias too, arguably the best contact hitter in baseball. So they've got a lot of loss right now. So it just makes sense to trade.
It does. Yeah, it does make sense. Lots of possibilities. I'm excited to see the way the rest of this plays out. Any final thoughts, gentlemen? Any quick final thoughts that you might have on this therapy session?
Man, The only thought that I have is like when we were first talking here was like I'm not super worried yet because like Ron said, realistically to me didn't feel like they were in on some of those main guys, but maybe this is more through the trade market. And I've always been kind of on the side of would not hate a Zach Gallen type of deal because I do believe in the bounce back. And so I kind of like that idea because the Cubs, I think they can maximize the player.
Joey,
like
we had him for 5 minutes.
Yeah, right. Boob.
Yeah.
Boob with the ultimate he just pulled a boob right there.
Arson Judge.
Yeah, no. I just think this is very early too in the Arson Judge, God. Very early in the process. Like, what do you guys think? Like when they put it in terms of quarters, like what was this, the end of the first quarter right now? Like I don't know. Like, what was it last year? They were saying, "Oh, we're just starting the
third. We're in the fourth
third
inning.
inning or something."
Third
Yeah,
inning,
yeah,
yeah.
whatever the fuck. Like, okay,
I think we're in the fourth inning.
are we in the fourth inning right now?
And then after the ninth inning, we were like, "Are there extra innings?"
Hoping for more.
We need more. We need extra innings this year too, hopefully. But hopefully they just get stuff done before we get to extras. That'd be nice. But man, the way that this offseason is moving so slow so far, I don't see it happening where we have all these deals done by even CubsCon. Again, we're going to be sitting there at CubsCon. We're going to be sitting by the bar talking and like, all right, what move is happening? Hopefully not Trey Mancini, but
I'll give it to him though. The past few seasons, they've been prone to making moves just before Christmas. Kyle Tucker, Dansby Swanson.
Yeah.
Wasn't Jameson just before Christmas?
Mm-hmm. I think so.
So maybe we get something in the next week or two.
I'm going to guess it's either a starting pitcher or a reliever. I don't think their bat is going to come until after Christmas. It's my guess.
I think it's a fair guess. Gentlemen, my final thoughts. It was just good to talk Cubs baseball with you guys again. I feel better just because of that. But I'll tell you what, I internally I don't have a lot of high hopes. But I'm sitting here with my pen as my stick, saying, "Please, just do something, do anything." two 1 year. Well, I guess Matone. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Was a 2-year deal.
Maton, maybe? Who knows?
Maton.
But
like, I'm tired of short-term bullpen deals. Like, do something more. Like, I want a wow factor of a signing, even if it's just like I didn't expect that. Like, that's okay too. That's how I felt about like Cody Bellinger when they initially signed. It was like, I didn't expect that, but okay. Like,
I was happy with that.
Yeah, I'm waiting for that signing. You know what I mean?
I want the freaking Nintendo 64 on Christmas morning, and yeah, I agree. It's freaking like Tommy Claus. I don't care what you have to do. When Santa Claus shoves his fat ass through my HVAC vent on Christmas Day, I want a Nintendo 64, a PlayStation. Because back in the day when PlayStation 2 came out, it was I want that level of a player Christmas Day. I don't care what you got to do. I'm tired of the deodorants and the socks and I got candy in my stocking. Cool and dumb.
I don't know about you, Tyler. I need socks this year, though.
I mean, I like socks. Socks are great, just like bullpen arms are great. But give me, I want the pony. Okay, I want the freaking pony.
Give him the pony, damn it. Well, this was fun. I do feel a lot better after this. I came in pretty hot, pretty upset. After we talked and all the possibilities and things of that nature, it is like a good therapy session. I'm calmer. I'm much calmer. And it was good to talk with Cubs baseball with all of you. And it was a treat to have Ron on here tonight. I do want to tell everyone where they can go find us. You can go to ontapsportsnet.com. Check out all of our content. As Ron mentioned, we do much more than just Cubs. We do Bears, which Ron has a show coming up here for the O-line. Go check that out. Shameless plug. We do Blackhawks, Bulls, even the White Sox. They're still a team. They didn't get relegated, contrary to popular belief.
First overall pick in the Major League Baseball draft next year.
They're on the come up. I'll tell you what, they're coming up.
Hey, check
we
out
have
our
fall
shop. Our
showings.
shop too. We got it. Yeah.
Yes, and our shop. Check out our shop. You look at that bush bomb. Get yourself a bush bomb.
If you're on the naughty list with your significant other, get off that one and get yourself on the naughty time list with your very own Michael Bushbaum t-shirt. You can wear it to bed. You can wear it to the gym. Wear it to church, for crying out loud. I don't care. But get it for that significant other or yourself. Trust me, it works. She'll like it too.
Go check us out. Go check out the merch store. Get some Christmas gifts for everyone, and use OnTap Sports for 10% off your obvious shirt order.
Yeah,
True.
Gentlemen, this was fun. What do you say we get out of here the only way that we know how here?
You know, as bad as we want to bitch and complain and vent and everything like that, St. Louis is up for business, which means they're desperate this time of year. You know, they're that desperate person on the street corner. Help me. And if I was to drive by and see them, I'd drive right by a puddle and just splash them. And it's just another reason why I say F the Cardinals.
Ain't that the truth, baby? And let's go Cubbies.
Let's go Cubbies.
Go Cubbies.